Do I have to eat this rabbit food forever? That's a common question I'll get in the practice. Or one similar would be, do I have to eat this restricted diet forever? Whatever that restricted diet is, because it will be different for everybody based on their situation. And the answer is you shouldn't have to eat it forever. But initially, we need that to get you over a certain hump. So let's tease that out today. I'm Dr. John Bartemus, and I'm putting the pieces together to help you live a life at optimal. So eating that rabbit food or eating that restricted diet, why do I have to do it and for how long? These are common questions. And oftentimes that question is asked again sometime later on in the action plan saying, do I have to stay this restricted forever? And the answer is that the clinical intention is no. You should not have to stay that restricted forever. But initially, especially if you've got immune dysfunction going on or food intolerances, food sensitivities, food allergies, some form of immune response to food, if you've got that going on initially, then we have to be restricted because we have to create balance in the immune system and optimal tolerance so that we can then reintroduce foods that you may have reacted to in the past. So, for example, if you've got an autoimmune disease, it is well known that there are many foods that are triggers to drive autoimmunity. A common one is wheat or gluten. Another common one is dairy, soy, etc., etc. So if you have autoimmune disease, and nightshades, the group of nightshades is another one, so tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, things like that. So if you're someone that has an autoimmune disease per se, and let's just make up a patient. So a patient has autoimmune disease and they respond to nightshades. So they can eat tomatoes or peppers or eggplant. Should they avoid those forever? We'll see. Should they avoid those definitely in the short term? Absolutely. Because if they eat those in the short term, those are triggering their autoimmune process and driving the immune system towards imbalance, driving the immune system towards attacking self, doing the opposite of what we want to do clinically. So even though you may love your tomatoes and love your eggplant, we have to avoid those initially so that we can create immune balance and calm that inflammation, calm that attack on self, support or encourage immune tolerance. And then when we've reached that point, then we can start to say, hey, patient, what do you want back first, a tomato or an eggplant? Oh, I want a tomato back first. Okay, well, let's reintroduce tomato in a specific way that allows us to observe whether or not you react to it either in the short term or in the delayed term upon reintroduction. If we do that and you don't react to it in the short term or after a delayed amount of time, then you can have tomatoes back. We've created tolerance towards tomatoes. And so then we'd say, okay, patient, what's the next thing you want back? I want white rice back. Okay, well, let's try white rice. And you reintroduce in a certain way. And so as you can see, the restricted diet that you may have to go on initially shouldn't be necessarily a forever thing, because we don't want to be restricted forever. If you're restricted long term, you can develop sensitivities to the 3 foods that you can eat, and then you're in trouble. Okay, so a healthy diet is one that is very diverse with healthy foods, especially fruits and vegetables and fibers. And so we want to create diversity in your nutrition. There are certain foods that, unfortunately for you in your mind, maybe you may never be able to have again, like wheat or gluten if you're gluten sensitive or have an allergy. But that's to your benefit because you won't be pouring gas on the autoimmune fire by not eating those. So a very common question, and hopefully I cleared it up for you. You initially should have to be more restricted than long term, and the better you are initially, the more strict you are with being restricted, the faster you create that immune balance or the clinical intent, and the sooner you can get to the point where you and your practitioner have the discussion of, okay, it looks like you're ready to add something back. What do you want back first?